Hi friends, this is Sarah from Crafting and Relaxing. Welcome to those of you who are brand new and also those of you who are subscribers and coming back again. In this video I'm working on a 12, don't worry, the whole thing won't be sped up like this. I sped up the photo selection part so that you didn't have to watch me stare at them and lay them out. But today I'm doing a double page 12 by 12 layout, and it came from a kit that I got at embellishkits.com. I got it at their actual live event called the Play All Day, and I'll link to that video so that you can see the original video where I brought home the product and showed it. Anyway, I have a tendency to not finish things in class, and then they sit around, and this page has been on my mind because I wanted to use the extra product. I like to finish the pages and then use the extra product for cards. I had these photos sitting around, and I recently did that review about my Pictorine order, and this was one of the pages I was trying to do. It's important to note as you look at this page, many of you might be thinking this is way too many pictures, the layout is just off, it doesn't work. When I put many of my scrapbook pages together, it's more important to me that I get all of the people and the memories on the page than how it looks. It's not just to me about the aesthetics, it's about the memories of it. As I selected these photos, I began marking, you'll see some little flags that say June on them. I began marking which month of the year because I thought I would add the month to the page when I did it. But then so many of them were in June, I decided that it was just sad that I hadn't had more fun throughout the year, so I didn't mark that. This is the sticker sheet that goes with this product. The paper line is I'd Rather Be Crafting, and it's Echo Park. And I'm not sure exactly who did it. I have a guess, but I don't want to say just in case which designer did it. And it's all crafting and sewing and paint and mess making and creating. And I think it's just a really great collection. What I'm doing here, the reason I'm cutting out the stickers is I have a tendency to get in a hurry and start gluing things down and miss the specific items that I want to use. You can see when I hold up the kit instructions or at the very beginning, I follow kits, here we go, very, very loosely, okay? So there are embellishments on the page. One thing that Shelby, the owner of Embellish Online, is really good about doing is she makes these really neat embellishments or embellishment clusters. So what I'm doing is I'm looking at the instructions, and there are certain embellishment groupings or sticker sets. See, like that one, I like that round one. And so I'll circle them and figure out where on the page I'm going to put them so that I don't forget to use them. And if I can, I cut out certain stickers that I like and lay them out and figure out all the spacing. It's just part of my pre-planning. You've seen people put their word stickers onto waxed paper to see how the spacing will lay out, and that's sort of what I'm doing. Here I realized I forgot some of the embellishments that go with this, and I found an extra piece of paper. And this is just the book that I keep all my 12 by 12 pages in when I know that I want to make them, but I'm just not sure exactly when I'm going to do them. So they're still tucked away safely. And I'm just grabbing all of the parts and making sure I have every last bit of the product. And then I'll set that aside. And when you have these kits that you started months ago and you've chopped things up and laid them out, it gets confusing to see which side you use. And so what I'm doing is I'm just looking at the kit itself, the instruction sheet, and then laying it out to the best of my ability based on the fact that I didn't follow the instructions at all. That's pretty much what happens with me. Some people do not like to sit next to me at events like this because they want to look over and see what I'm doing, and I'm not following along. Shelby's used to it, and she wants people to have fun all day. She doesn't care what you actually make when you're in her classes. And the photo, oops, I just covered it up. We'll see it in a minute. Here I'm cutting out the sheet. The photo in the far upper right, that's Shelby in the middle, the blonde from Embellish Kits, and that was at her Play All Day event. So you can see why I wanted one of those photos on my crafting page. I have pictures from going to Scrapbook Expo, I have Play All Day pictures, quilt shop hops, painting rocks with little kids for Father's Day, and here I'm just picking out my stickers using a pencil to mark the ones I'm too lazy to cut out. The photos on the left, the one with a big group is from Play All Day, and then a painting thing at a winery, painting rocks with kids, and then making a kokedama, I don't know if that's how you say it, at a nursery. Essentially, it's a Japanese maple and a cute ball of moss. It's a lot of pain to water during the summer, though. I don't like it. I gave it away. Here, I've discovered that while I loved the color scheme on the kit, when you look at that kit, I like it, but okay, I took a picture of it just now. That's important. I liked the color scheme, but there was a lot of teal in the accents. She had picked up on that in the kit, and I am wearing that bright green St. Patty's Day shirt because Play All Day was on March 17th, and that shirt says craftingandrelaxing.com on the back. So I've worn it to a lot of crafting events, and I don't like green, so I don't care if I get paint on it. So I craft in it a lot, and it did not go with the teal. Here, I'm swapping out my Tombow adhesive, the refill. It was super easy. I just wanted you to note on that package, it said refills. So when you go to buy them, a new one and oh, that's Sadie. A refill pack will look the same. So be careful and read the package. If there's 3 in a pack, that's probably refills. So if you want to try them out, you need to buy a whole one first. Because when you take those out of the package, yeah, she's helpful. They won't be two-sided. They won't actually be a full dispenser. I'm using the Tombow adhesive to lay these down. And the reason I take a picture of things is because then when I start moving them around, I don't get confused about how I wanted them. And sometimes you look at them on your camera or iPad or phone, whatever, and you get more information about it. On this side of the page where I'm working right now, I don't like that flowered pattern at the bottom with the brown. That's super retro. Had I been paying more attention in class, I probably would not have glued that down. But I glued it down in March, so there wasn't really an undo button on that. But you'll notice I did not put a corresponding strip of it on the other side of the page. When I tried to cover it up with the photos, it just didn't, the layout, the shape of it didn't work, so I gave up on that idea. Here I've realized that I'm trying to change the colors, the accent colors, and go more with the pink and orange. So that's why I swapped that out. I've cut back on the teal, I'm going pink and orange. Having more fun with that. And I like angles, I like things I like things asymmetrical. When you think about design and layout, you kind of get to know yourself a little bit. I don't like things that are perfectly symmetrical, but I don't like my pictures askew on the page so much. I mean, I like my pictures to be straight, but I don't want a perfectly symmetrical thing where they're all cut exactly the same. And I'm just laying it down, and I can trim things later. And I keep moving that create sticker because it represents a cluster that I want to do. Here I'm trying to actually pick off that paper at the bottom. It's a sticker strip. And there's Miss Sadie again. She's a helper. Pretty much every time I turn my head or go to reach for something, she runs through. That's Dina Wakely in the apron right there. I'm not sure if you're familiar with her products or her books, but she has her own paint line and stamps, and she taught a printmaking class that I went to at a store near here. That was super fun. And she makes really nice heavy body acrylic paint too. And her classes are great if you get a chance to take one from her. So here you can see I'm just arranging it, and I'm trying to look at how is it on the stripes, and if if I can tolerate it and I like it. The reason I trimmed some of these pictures unusual shapes is because A, I have so many on the page, and B, like the selfie at Scrapbook Expo had a no smoking sign in the back, and I just didn't really want it in there. It needed to go. So that one I had to trim especially small. It was either that or put a sticker over it, and I thought that would be easier to trim it. And here what I'm doing, like I said, is I'm making sure that I like how the photos are arranged on the orange and white stripe paper. The orange and white paper isn't adhered yet. That little tiny sticker came in something and it says play all day. So since I was in an event called Play All Day, I set it aside. And there you noticed I moved that orange paper over. And these are just the 12 by 12 stickers that came on the sheet. That's what I'm messing with. And then I realized there's a separate piece. So I was gonna lay it down. And then I thought about it, and it was so tiny it would have just gotten lost there. So I moved it to the other side of the page. Not that it really was noticeable, it just added a little more interest to that orange and white stripe. And sometimes these tiny, tiny stickers are hard to manage. It's almost easier if you leave them on the sticker sheet and loosen one end first, but clearly I didn't do that in this instance. Okay, then back to the other side to adhere that one. And if you want your stickers to pop out more, you can put them on like a 3/4 strip of solid paper. This page has plenty going on. I didn't want to add to it. Now I'm looking for the 12-inch strip of scissor paper, but having trouble finding it, but I know it should be in there somewhere because in the instructions there's scissor paper behind those pictures. Yeah, that's where I decided I'm not putting the corresponding paper up there. I'm not really into some of the brown floral looks. Okay, there's the 12-inch piece. Found it. And this is just my little Cricut cutter that I have a video on. And then I'm just going to slide it in. And normally you would prep a page and glue everything down and then put your photos on it when you're making a kit. But since I don't follow the instructions for kits, that's not how I do it. But you can see I'm getting a lot of photos in this page. This is pretty much the first, I don't know, 9 months of the year or 10 months of my crafting fun for 2018. And that was a really important focus to me. I wrote a blog post about that on craftingandrelaxing.com, and that's how I named my channel. So this page is more than just fun things I did this year. It's kind of about my focus for the year. And that is my Instagram hashtag, craftingandrelaxing. I looked for stickers to do it with. None of my alphabet stickers had hashtags in them. Maybe they're too old. I would think the new ones have them, don't they? And the color on this page was a little strange. So I just used one of my hand lettering pens and wrote it by hand. I haven't been practicing hand lettering at all, and it kind of shows, but that's the point, right? I mean, I tried it, I did it, and it was more important to me that it was on the page than it was perfect. You'll see that a lot in my projects. Here I'm making, there's going to be a slower one, so if you want to see this slower, don't worry, I'll do this a couple more times. I'm making like a bow bundle of the twine so that I can make the embellishments that are on the page and lay them out. That's one thing Shelby's great about, is taking the stickers and layering them, or buttons and ribbon, and she always has creative embellishment ideas. That's what I learned the most at her classes. So even if you're a card maker and there's a play all day in your city and you think, I would never want to go to that, she has amazing kits and collections and all kinds of stuff for sale, and great ideas that any paper crafter can use. Okay, now see this crazy circle thing? We're gonna make this. And when I was about halfway through this, I remembered that my friend made it in class and there was muttering. So I used wet adhesive in this video, and what I'm doing is all I'm trying to do is get a circle the right size. I could have traced around my sticker, I could have measured anything. I just used the negative, positive, I don't know, the shape of the circle, stuck it on there and cut it out. Okay, so you need a circle the size of another circle. Neither one of them actually has to be stickers. And I'm taking that circle that I just cut out and putting wet adhesive all over it. What I would recommend is that you don't use wet adhesive, because right about now, this is a disgusting process and my fingers are gross. I think using the Tombow roller or something like that, or your zig, or even double-sided tape, build it with double-sided tape, and then you can take wet adhesive and put it on top of it, and then put the top layer on. You'll see what I mean. I'll point that out when we get closer. Now, in the instructions, I have the instructions laid right above there. You see how the petals are super tight and it's a little more interesting? Since I was doing this with wet adhesive and not having the most fun of my life, I decided my petals were not going to look like that. But I think this would be a really great embellishment on a card too, because it gives dimension and interest. And I was surprised at how good it looked. Maybe it's just because I'm not that picky, but I just thought it turned out pretty well, considering the fact that I didn't put that much effort into it. I wasn't too picky about how the petals came out. I had a little trouble here because that twine was trying to twist, but I think it would be great on a card. Sorry, you can't see. With like color themes, different color themes. Like maybe you could do it for a fall card. It doesn't necessarily have to be a flower. It could just be texture or something. Just changing it for whatever you're doing. Now at this point, if I had used Tombow, I would coat this whole thing in the wet adhesive, and then I would put the sticker on top of it. Okay, so then you have the sticker, and that sticker says something about sewing, mending the sole. So in Shelby's instructions, she has you layer a button over it, because this page isn't about sewing for me. And then I just took the scrap of twine that was off to the side, doubled it, and put it in a little knot. And then I'm going to use I used a large glue dot to adhere that blue button. Now I'm going to use a tiny glue dot and put it on there. Remember, always take the item to the glue dot, stick it to it, and then put it on. Don't peel the glue dot off the thing and mess with it. I'm going to chop that thing down. It's going to be a little crooked. It'll be fine. Okay, I've moved to the other side of the page because that item up there in the far right that we just made is drying. So that's why I completely switched directions to allow for dry time. I don't know how much dry time it really needs, but I figured after that I wanted it to hold up. And here I'm trying to figure out how big the Create sticker will be when I take it off. Okay, this is a trick that I'm putting embossing powder, not the embossing, but like my embossing buddy, which is essentially talcum powder, on the ends. So the word Create, the C and the E at the end, they stick off of that other strip of paper, and I don't want them to strongly adhere themselves to the dotted paper and make a ridge. So when you want your sticker to kind of stick out and not be flat or have a crease in it because of layers, just put powder over it. And you'll see me do that sometimes in other things too. I don't love how that corner turned out, so I took one of those little flags that says June on it and stuck it there to remind me to come back to that. But part of what I'm doing is I don't want to use any flowers or buttons or items that I'm going to need for an embellishment that I've already selected. So I'm trying to make my large embellishment groupings from the kit, and then I'll know what I have left to work with to fill in like the place where I just stuck the June sticker. Okay, here I remembered that wasn't adhered. And then we're going to put down that 12 by 12 strip. So when you're layering up your embellishments and making them, sometimes you have to move around. You have to set them aside, work on a different page. It's just like if you're making cards and your backgrounds are wet, you set them aside and come back to it. Here I'm just gluing that on. And I have found that these little pink Tombow adhesive things, you don't need a lot of pressure. With the Hermafix, I had to press pretty hard, so I would never use it on the back of something like that because I would smash it probably. So I got in the habit of using other adhesives on those, but I probably could have used my pink roller just fine. Here I powdered the far right edge of that sticker for the same reason. And then I wrote 2018. I was going to write something else, but I changed my mind. And I found a flower sticker that I wasn't going to use for anything else. And here I'm creating a grouping that she has on the left side of the instructions that has a hand and a palette, and the answer is crafting no matter what the question is. This product has amazing sayings in it. Crafting is my superpower. I like to party, and by party I mean stay at home in my PJs and do crafts. The answer is crafting. I don't care what the question is. I love to create. There's some things about sewing. I didn't use the sewing ones. I'll probably make cards for my sewing friends with those. And here I'm making another bundle of the twine. So I grab it, I wrap it around my fingers about 8 times. Then I cut a length about 8 inches. I think that's what the directions say, and just tie it around there and knot it. 8 inches is long enough that it's easy to tie the bow or tie the middle like this, but it's also a little too long, so you cut it off and waste it. But on the other one I used it for the middle of that button. And these aren't hard. I mean, you could make a whole bunch of these really quick if you wanted to make like a set of matching something and you needed bows on them, and they look cute. And if anything sticks out, just cut it off. The weird sound under me you might have heard is my dog. Okay, then I'm adding an I love crafting sticker over there. And just trying to look at the page and think about if there's anything else on it. Then I decide I didn't use the craft, the word craft, those little banners. I noticed on the instruction sheet she had those at the top of a photo, and I really liked that. But then I thought, well, I'll use them to cover up some more of that paper I don't like. And it's actually a sticker. That's what's wrong. You can see it off the sticker sheet. The whole thing is a sticker, so there was no way that thing was coming off. So I covered up most of it. And then the large flower I liked, so I ended up covering 2018. And I'm just going through the sticker sheet. This is a thing I do at the end after I've used up most of it. I'm going through the sticker sheet and I'm making sure that everything I wanted for my page goes onto my page now, because once I set that sticker sheet aside and start making cards with it, I'll use things and I won't think about it. So here you go. Here's the final page with all of the embellishments and layers. And I hope you enjoyed this video. I have another 12 by 12 page one in the works. I've been very busy lately. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure and give me a thumbs up and click the subscribe button if you haven't already. Bye-bye.